Thank you for staying with us. And now we get to talk matters of family. And I had already posed this question to you earlier on while we were doing the intro to the show. And the question we are asking you today is, can trust be rebuilt after betrayal? That is the question that we are posing to you. And remember, you can be part of this conversation by sending us a WhatsApp message with your comments on the same. So what would be your answer? Do you think trust can be rebuilt after betrayal, or after betrayal, that's just it? There's no way that it can be rebuilt. That is what we are asking you, and I will be glad to read through the comments that you have on this. We have quite a big panel to talk to us about it, to discuss this conversation. And, you know, just as they are all getting ready, maybe I can begin with Judith, because we have Judith Pelluccini. Judith Pelluccini is a therapist, she's a leadership coach and an author as well. If I may just begin with her as the rest gets ready. Judith, what would be your answer on this? Can trust be rebuilt after betrayal?
Yeah, I think it can, but with a lot of work. So depending with what's been done, and depending with the person, if, you know, sometimes when something happens, we're not willing to grow, to develop, to change. So I think if both parties are willing to grow, develop, change, i.e. go to therapy even, it doesn't matter if it's friends or family, I think there is a chance of kind of rebuilding the trust. But with that also, you will need to have boundaries after you kind of agree to move on. You have to set some boundaries in terms of the expectation going forward, so that everybody knows, for example, if it happens again, then there is boundaries around, we're not going to be, you know, spending time together, or that's going to be the end of whatever relationship we have, or some sort of boundary after we agree to kind of move on. So I would say yes, but there's a lot of work to be done, and also kind of set an agreement of how you move forward.
So it can be rebuilt, but it really takes a lot of work. And I believe intentionality as well.
Yes, and time, not to kind of speed up things and say, all right, you know, we've been friends or we've been in relationships for 20 years. Something happens, you can't then use the 20 years to say, well, we've been together for 20 years, so it should be quickly to, you know, we can repair quickly or we can move on quicker. You have to allow the time for, you know, healing, repairing. That trust needs space and time. So yeah, no rushing to kind of get to the end.
Yeah. All right, so I want to introduce my fellow guests for this as well. And I will begin with Sakwa. We have Sakwa Benedict Peter, and Sakwa is a clinician, a student psychologist, and a businessman as well. Welcome to the program. It's a pleasure to have you here. And then I will also introduce Kevin Morioki Wero. Kevin is a student from Laikipia University taking BA Comms and Media Studies. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And then we also have Masi Ndanu, who's also a student. She's a student from Karatina University taking BA in Comms and PR. Welcome to the show. And then last but not least, we have Bilson Rubia. Bilson Rubia is a student, JKUAT, taking BA Corporate Communication and Management. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, we've already gotten to hear from Judith. I would want to hear from you, Sakwa. Do you think trust can be rebuilt after betrayal?
Yes. I say so because, for one, trust to me is a certainty. As far as your relationship is concerned, it is that which cements the relationship, or the glue that makes the relationship to keep going. And it is that assurance that makes you keep putting more effort into that relationship so that you sustain it. And so if it is broken, then as Judy mentioned, it requires effort for it to be rebuilt. And so that's the same way that you will take long, you put together the materials to ensure that, for example, if you're putting up, you want to build something, you put together materials to ensure that that is able to be put together to be built. Then the same way, if it's broken, it will take time for it to be, it's basically a process for it to be able to rebuild.
All right.
Yeah.
I would like to hear from the younger people, let me call them that, or do we just call them the Gen Zs? What would be your take? Because maybe your thinking is different. Do you feel like it's possible for you to trust someone after they've betrayed you? Let me start with the lady.
At some point, yes. At some point, no. Based on how bad the betrayal was, or because trust is not just something that you build in a short period of time. You trust this person. It is something. It's the confidence that you've placed in someone because of their consistent actions, or rather that they are honest enough. So some betrayals, you can't rebuild the trust. But if your relationship with that person is not that deep, or rather the betrayal is not that much, you can't rebuild. So that's my opinion.
Okay, so for you it depends with the kind of betrayal that it is. Bilson, I want to hear from all of you first, and then we continue with it. Bilson, what's your take on the same?
Okay, my take is that trust can be rebuilt after betrayal. But we have to understand that Rome wasn't built on the same day. Same with trust. For me, I cannot trust someone. I see someone today, we interact and I trust the person. It needs to take time. The same time that trust was built on is the same time that somebody, after betrayal, will need it to rebuild it. But we also have to understand that when someone is beaten, is twice shy. So you'll have to give it time. Today I trust you, betray me, I forgive you. We begin that rebuilding process. And also it depends with the rebuilding, the factors of the betrayal or the nature of the betrayal. For me, it can be rebuilt, and it can be very much rebuilt. Okay, Kevin?
Well, I guess my take on this one would be that after betrayal, depending on the nature of the betrayal, yes, you could work on rebuilding the trust, but I feel like at the end of the day, some things can never really go back to the way they were before, because this is somebody you really counted on, somebody you placed your trust in. And the moment they break your trust, the moment they betray you in whichever way, it makes you really wonder or really question their genuineness from the beginning. So even if you decide to trust them again, you will tend to be wary of placing the same amount of trust you had before.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So does betrayal mean the same to everyone, or do we all experience it differently? Would you say it's the same for everyone, or does it vary?
I think it might vary depending on life experience. It might depend on your perspective in life, because some people take things more seriously than others. Some betrayals, maybe I might think, oh, that's not too bad, when somebody else might be like, I'm never going to talk to that person again. So I think it depends with everybody's perspectives, life experiences, and also how a person is in general. So some people take life very light. And so when people, betray them, they go, all right, like for me, if someone betrays me, I always assume, I'm like, it's that person's issues. So I'm not going to make it about me or anything that I've done. I'm like, all right, it's that person. I can go on with my life and not be so heavy in that, that person's betrayed me and now I'm going to be, I just think, well, it's got nothing to do with me when they betray me. Everything to do with that person. So I remove myself and not personalize it, and then allow myself to still have a relatively easy life when it comes to that person. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to spend time with them, or I can, they can be somewhere else, not near me, but I'm not going to make it about myself. So I think, there's a couple of variables in terms of what betrayal can be and how people interpret and take it.
All right, and that also brings the question of forgiving and forgetting. Because, as I said, you can just have them, love them from afar.
Like
100%.
You've
done whatever you've done to me, that's your issue, it's on you, but now I'll just need to love you from afar. So speaking about forgiving and forgetting, where do we draw the line, or where do I get to decide that, okay, I'm forgiving you and you're gonna stay here and we try and rebuild this, and I'm forgiving you but I don't want you anywhere near me?
First and foremost, I again want to agree with Judy that trust and forgiveness is all about your personality,
Yes.
your background. Assuming you have gone through quite a number of traumas in your early years or something like that, then of course it will affect how you tend to trust people and walk along in life with them. Because trust is the lens that you use to view other people and how they treat you and how the world is. Either it is hostile to you or it is receptive. So to such an extent that us being Christians, we are called to forgive, yes. But forgiveness does not necessarily mean that you forgive and forget, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
for me, because at the end of the day, we all have our minds and we'll keep recalling some of these situations that we've gone through.
Yeah.
And also depending with what betrayal was all about. What happened, what actually happened, that's the question.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, as much as we are Christians and we are called to forgive, we are called to forgive because it is good for you. It's good for your own health. In that aspect of forgiving, you let go because it's more of like a baggage. Sometimes I'll forgive you not because you warrant that forgiveness or you've asked for that forgiveness, but because at the end of the day, it's a baggage that I don't want to continue carrying.
Yeah.
So I let it go so that I can be able to move on and make life be what it is supposed to be for me. And so it is not about you anymore, it's about me. It's about me.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll read a comment that has just come in. Someone is saying, after betrayal, sometimes rebuilding trust is possible, but the healthiest choice, according to this person, is to move on. Trust is like glass. It takes only a moment to shatter, but a lifetime may not be enough to put it back together the way it once was. I hear you on that. Remember, you can also be able to send in your comments on the same. The number is 0707-303-212. It's right there on your screens. I'll be reading the messages as they come in. What's the biggest form of betrayal? Let me begin with you, Bilson. For you, I mean, it's personal for all of us. So what's the biggest form of betrayal for you? When would you say that someone has betrayed you to a point where there's no rebuilding?
Okay, that's a tricky question.
I know. Yeah.
That's a tricky question. But as you have said that there's a line that someone needs not to cross so that I can forgive and forget.
Yeah.
My biggest form, like, if you do me wrong, there's no going back to the relationship that we once had.
So are you speaking from a romantic relationship point of view?
Romantic is not my language anymore.
You've already been betrayed
That's a hard
enough.
statement. It's not his language anymore.
Yeah. So it means you've already been betrayed enough when it comes to that line. So you're speaking from a friendship perspective.
Let me just handle the friendship perspective.
Okay.
Romantic is another door that I don't want to touch on or even open.
Okay.
Okay, on a friendship perspective, I will put it in such a way that a friend in need or something of sort. For me, when I'm in trouble and then you come to my rescue, it's a good thing. That is a trust that you are building. But immediately I'm on that sick bed and then you don't visit me, and then immediately I'm discharged from the hospital, you start ringing me like, I need that can never happen. Yeah.
Okay. Your biggest form of betrayal?
For me, I'm speaking from a friendship point of view.
Okay.
If
Me what a mekata romantic point of view. All right. Go ahead.
as someone who has grown up, I haven't had so close friends that much. So the moment I have you as my friend, so close to me, I get the chance to maybe open up to you, tell you my secrets, maybe challenges that I'm going through. And if maybe you go tell someone else, because it's only you that I trusted and opened up to you. If you go tell maybe someone else, that would be so bad. That's my biggest form of betrayal.
Well, Kevin, you know, when it comes to betrayal, the thing about it is that many a times, or more often than not, it comes from the people we trust the most. It comes from the people we love the most. Would you say for you it's the same? Would you feel more betrayed by someone you trust and someone you love compared to someone who, you know, is not really dear to your heart?
Absolutely. Actually, my take on this would be, my biggest form of betrayal would be if a family member betrayed me. That is what would hurt the most, because, you know, most friendships, most relationships outside of family usually tend to have a transactional aspect to them. You trust this person to do this for you because you've done this for them. It's basically a give and take situation.
Yeah.
But when it comes to family, trust is supposed to be unconditional. There's somebody you should be able to trust in, regardless of whether you can be able to give anything back in return. And the moment you bear yourself, the moment you are that vulnerable to a member in your family, and then they end up breaking your trust, they probably use your weaknesses against you, something that you only trusted them with. I think, in my opinion, that is what would hurt the most, because these are people you really hold close to you. These are people you have always believed you could count on, even when the rest of the world was burning. These are people you believe you can run towards. So if a member of my family were to betray me, I think that is what I would consider
Your biggest form of betrayal.
biggest form of betrayal, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
different perspectives right here. Let me also introduce Rosemary Kiguru, who has also just joined us. She is also a student at the Multimedia University taking journalism. Welcome to the show. Let me begin by just asking you to give us your view on whether trust can be rebuilt after betrayal.
Thank you so much. I'm a firm believer of second chances. I believe trust can be rebuilt with time, responsibility. It takes both parties to accept that. The betrayer has to accept, I have wronged this person, and this person has to open their doors back for this person to regenerate their trust for them. So I'm a firm believer, even though after betrayal, there's a certain level of trust that cannot be reattained. It's still something that can be worked on.
All right. Yeah. So as she puts it, there's a part that can never be retained back, you know. So can trust 100% be rebuilt? You know, I can be open to working on rebuilding trust after betrayal, but can we get to that 100% point? Is it possible?
I won't say it is possible. Because at any one given time, there's a percentage that will remain out. Reason being that, as we said from the word go, this is about the surety that you had on this person. It is about the confidence that you had in this person. It is about the long walk and the commitment that you put in this relationship.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, once this has been shattered, then you will always remain hypervigilant. You want to always keep looking behind and see, is there anything else that this person is not telling me? And that is the worst part of it. Because if that continues for long, then trust me, this relationship cannot be rebuilt anymore. And that is why, as he says, sometimes if it's not a close family member, you may feel like you can even let go and move on. But if it's a family member, this is blood. You need to find a way out of working around it so that possibly you love them from a distance and continue doing that which you need to do so that your life remains moving on smoothly.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. I want to read a comment that has just come in. Someone is saying, hi, Vivian. It's Pastor David Makori. Trust can be rebuilt if the root cause for mistrust is correctly diagnosed, owned up, owned up, one shows remorse, addressed, and the willingness to rebuild the fence around trust. And two, for strong Christian believers, if the mistrust was sin, then it should be addressed as sin, and the victim should surrender and go to God for restoration. Another perspective right there. Would you agree on the same?
I think, I just want to say, I think as human beings, there is a tendency of, we need to kind of open our mindsets around people are going to let us down, people are going to disappoint us, people might even betray us. So when it happens, it's not such a shock to the system.
So what you're saying is expect the worst.
But just expect humans to be humans, because humans, we're not one-dimensional, right? We're kind of multi-dimensional. We love, we have laughter, we want to play. On the other side, we can also be horrible, mean, we can, betray people. So as a human being, there's many aspects to us. But what we tend to do as people, we want to just focus on this person's a nice person, or they care about me, they love me, they do all these things. But I think in order to have a holistic relationship with anyone, I know we're talking about family, in particular, family betraying you, I think it's really important to understand that your family, be it your sister, brother, daughter, whatever, they have a dispensation of possibly betraying you because they're a person. So I think I try not to personally to put so much weight on, yes, I expect my family to never betray me, but if they do, or if they did, I'm not going to go into a massive shock. I'm like, okay, they're humans. There's a chance that they could do that. They've done that, so how can we move on? So I think for me, it's even less around, is it a sin, is it not a sin? It's just a human trait. And people make mistakes, and like you said, second chances. But there's some people who betray you over and over and over, and they're still your family. So I think for me, it's just also understanding the personality, because you can have someone who has a personality of letting you down, or they might even have addictions, and that's what's making them betray the family. So I think there's also an empathy piece where you have to see, right, this person is my family member, but they have an addiction. That's what's making them betray us. So do we focus on the betrayal, or do we focus on this person actually needs help, love and compassion that we need to give, rather than isolate and go, oh my God, we're not going to relate to that person. So I think there's so many dynamics to all of it, rather than, it's not just this and that. It's like there's so many things.
Right. And speaking from a psychological point of view, how would you say betrayal affects, a person's ability to even trust anyone else in the future? Because sometimes, as he said, once bitten, twice shy, and sometimes you tend to kind of bleed on other people who did not take part in the betrayal. So from a psychological point of view, how does that come about?
I think that for me, that's where it's important to seek counseling, to kind of help yourself move forward, because what you don't want to do, like you said earlier, is have that mentality or thinking that, I'm going to have to now look for other things that they might be hiding. Because once you agree, someone betrays you and you're like, all right, let's rebuild the trust, you have to work on yourself and your mind so that it's not starting to show you things that don't exist. Because sometimes when we get hypervigilant, we can start to see things that confirmation bias. You're trying to look for something that doesn't exist, but because you think someone's doing something, you're going to find it, and it might not be what you're looking for. So I think from a psychological perspective, we have to really go and work on, is it you that's not trusting because I'm going to go back a little bit. Trust is about your own ability to let go. So someone does something, do you have the ability to let that thing go and move on? So when you're not doing that, it means you're hanging on to the past. So when you're hanging on to the past, you can't go forward. And therapy will help you put things in the past and help you go forward, and help you regain your trust in terms of, can I trust myself? If this happens again, I'm going to be okay. Because I think that's what we're all looking for. We all want to be okay after something terrible happens. We're like, am I going to be okay? Can I move forward? But that's us problem. It's a you problem, not the person that's betrayed you. You have to accept that they've done this thing. Now, what are you going to do? And then it becomes about you, your mindset, how you're thinking. Any ghosts that you're thinking are going to come and get you again. They might do it again. All these, that's your internal conversation. And therapy helps you manage the internal conversation, that you're not escalating the thing. You're actually de-escalating and regulating your nervous system so that you're now not having a mental issue on top of that, that you're getting depressed, you're starting to get anxious. If the person does one thing, you're so anxious that they're doing something else. I think that's what, from a therapeutic perspective, that's what we need to be doing, managing our inner thoughts, inner conversation, regulating our nervous system so that we're not destroying ourselves when someone else has done something terrible to us.
Okay. You wanted to add on to it?
Yes, can I just build on that slightly by just mentioning some of the steps possibly that one can take after betrayal to start working on rebuilding that trust.
Okay.
And the first step for me would be that you look at yourself first, you take care of yourself first in terms of what you just mentioned, because it's all about your mind and how you have perceived this betrayal that has happened to you and how it happened. You're asking yourselves, was it out of carelessness that this person did what he did? Was it out of addictions that he did what he did? Is it just his personality that he's been able to continue doing this and all that? So you ask yourself a lot of questions. So the first thing that you want to do is to take care of yourself. And taking care of yourself, as a certain author called L.R. Nost tells us, is taking care of myself doesn't necessarily mean that that I'm mean, but it means that I'm looking at me too, yeah, in all this equation. So you take care of yourself first, and taking care of yourself could be as much as possibly looking at things that you can do to deflate, to keep going, to take care of your mind so that your mind is able to evade all this that's going on. Then the second step possibly would be you can look for materials that you can read and learn, yeah, that can be able to give you another perspective, another angle, yeah. Another aspect that you can be able to take into consideration is look at other people, look at other friends. Consider bringing them into your circle. Ensure that you're able to engage them. By engaging them, you're able to understand that this particular person who betrayed you is an exception. Not all people are looking at you in a negative perspective. Not all other people are looking at you in a way that they want to mistreat you or treat you badly. So if you're able to do all those kind of line of thinking, then you'll be working towards healing. And that's important because, you know, in our country today, we hear people talking about you wash yourself and go back to the market. It's not about washing yourself and going back to the market. Yeah, it's all about healing first before you can be able to open your heart to engage again. Because in absence of that, if you're going to that market, you're going to engage other people, and you're still hurting, you're basically carrying that hurt to them too. And people who have been hurt others badly. So we wouldn't wish to engage in that perspective. So first and foremost, create time for yourself, heal, and then once you have healed, you can be able to move on and open the heart to move to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rosemary, would you say that sometimes we just have maybe unrealistic expectations, and that way we are prone to betrayal?
Yeah, sometimes I think people have a lot of trust in people who they shouldn't be having a lot of trust in. Like, you might find you have a friend, and this friend is not like a long-term friend, but you choose to just trust them out of nothing, like they have not given you any reason to trust them, and you choose to trust them. So it causes a dilemma in you, like you don't know if you should trust this person or not. Yeah.
All right, I want to read some of the messages that have come in. Someone is saying, such a great show, thank you very much. My take on trust and betrayal, I feel it can be rebuilt, but it takes genuine remorse, consistent honesty, patience, and time. The person who broke the trust must accept that forgiveness may come before trust does. And the one who was hurt has every right to heal at their own pace. That is Gakima John. Thank you so much. Very well put. Someone else is saying, my greatest betrayal is not the lie itself, but the realization that every truth I believed is suddenly in question. I begin to wonder which memories were genuine, which words were sincere, and the person I believed in if they ever truly existed. Wow. I'll read one more. Hello, I'm Emmanuel from Kericho. Yes, trust can be rebuilt after betrayal, but it takes time, consistent actions, and willingness from both people. Good remarks right there, good comments right there. And you know, there's something that someone has said here. I believe that was Gakima John, who talked about, you know, allowing someone to heal at their own pace. So would you say there is a particular time that it takes for one to maybe rebuild the trust? Is there a particular time frame, Kevin?
I don't think so. Actually, in my opinion, anything that involves human emotions, be it heart, grief, any form of affliction on any person, I don't think we should be able to place a particular timeline on that. You should have gotten over that by now. You should have forgotten that by now. I really don't think that's how it works. If somebody is still reeling from the shock of somebody betraying them, I think we should be allowed the time and space to deal with that in their own way. Yes, we do know some people take longer than others. Actually, there are some people who tend to wallow in their misery longer. There are people who tend to punish themselves, because then again, you know, when betrayal is involved, some people tend to blame themselves. You start to question yourself, what did I do wrong? Did I kind of deserve this? So yeah, some people tend to take longer in their misery than others, but I really don't think we should be able to govern or dictate how much time somebody should take to get over betrayal. Let them deal with it in their own way. Give them that space and time. If you feel like they're taking too long, if you feel like they're asking for too much space and you can be able to wait around for them, that's good. That's okay with you, but don't try and rush them into catching up with you.
All right.
Yes.
Do you believe forgiveness can exist without trust, or rather, can forgiveness exist without trust being restored?
I think yes, because according to what he had said, he said according to Christians, you know, we are told to forgive so that our God in heaven can forgive us. So just because you don't want, you have that feeling that when you go to pray, then you remember that verse, that if you don't forgive whoever has wronged you, your God your Father in heaven won't forgive you. So, but you don't forgive because God in heaven, you know, according to that verse, but you just want to let it go. You want to let the heart go, that feeling to just go. But rebuilding the trust, I don't think it can be rebuilt to 100% as it was from the beginning, because from the start you gave it 100% trust, because this person, you placed confidence in this person. The person showed you honesty, loyalty, and their consistency in their actions. But once they broke the trust, because trust is like a bridge, once they broke the trust, you know, rebuilding the trust again, it wouldn't be something, because you'll be like, how much more will they, if I give them a second chance, how much more will they hurt? They still hurt me more, and you won't be like,
that's just constant. If they had wronged you, just be sure that maybe they'll do it again. Bilson, you know, for someone who has betrayed another, maybe what actions or what can they do that can show that they sincerely are sorry and are looking to maybe rebuild whatever you had together? Is there a particular way, or is there a way that you can be able to tell, okay, this person is actually truly remorseful, or you can't really tell?
Okay. So there is something called love, and then love languages. How somebody wants to be loved. That is the same way that I will take for trust. For you to regain that trust. If it's a romantic relationship, then you know, when I take my girl to out, and then I ask for forgiveness, there's a certain procedure, or there's a certain way. If she loves gifts, if she wants like just to spend time, that is the forgiveness or trust that it is to be regained. For friends, you know, it depends again with the relationship. For, let's say, like for me and Kevin, we are bros. So us regaining that trust will be very fast because we relate to some things of friendship. But again, when we go to the relationship of I and also, or Rose and I, then that's a different way because I don't know if it's true, but they say that girls do take a lot of time for if they have been done something for them to forgive. And for, as I said, I and Kevin is easy to forgive. Okay. But for maybe...
I don't know how true that is.
Yeah,
I don't know if that is psychologically proven. But anyway.
And then also, it's very hard. I've seen friendship, relationship of girls, when they betray each other is another world war at its own. They take a lot of time everything scatters. I think is that perspective of, as she said, that for her, the close friends she has are very little, even the circle of friends that she has. So when even Rose comes to interact with her, it will take time for her to trust. Okay. For me and Kevin, we may just meet and then a certain topic of sport occurs and then we debate on it. That is even we forget to ask the name. That is the trust. Even when next he calls me and then he says that, come on, there's a game that is on Saturday, will you come? That is that trust has already been. Even again when he doesn't show up for that game, the next time he calls, I will show up. Interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, I have to ask that question. Is it a gender thing really? Like, is there proper, distinction when it comes to the genders and trust and forgiveness? Is it really a gender thing?
I don't think so. I think it's just a perception. And I also think, I think women get given a bad name. Patriarchy obviously is going to give us a corner to go and sit. But I think it's just a personality type because, women are humans, they're people. And if anything, I think women are more forgiving because of the nature of nurturing and that's embedded in us. So I think men are more avoidant in terms of if something happens, they want to just kind of like move on quickly. They don't want to go into the emotion of it or why it happened. They want to pretend that they're strong and they don't have to talk about things. That's kind of like a woman thing. So I think it's a perception and a bias and patriarchy. I'm going to stop saying that word now. But I think that's just giving...
Blame it on patriarchy.
Yeah, we're just going to blame it on patriarchy and trying to box women up. But I think women are just as willing to move forward and move quickly. But we maybe want to unpack it and get to the root of it so it doesn't repeat itself. Okay. Maybe that's where maybe men might think we want to kind of talk about it or whatever. But I think for me personally, if something happens, I want to talk about it. If the person's not ready, I want to give them time. When you're ready, you come, we talk about it, and we find out how we're going to move on. Then we move on. If you don't want to talk about it, I'm going to assume that you don't care enough to invest the time in trying to move it forward. So I'm going to also remove myself. But I just want to say something around trust. I think trust is not about the other person. It's mainly about yourself and your ability to trust yourself. Because I think we put a lot of weight on others. We're like, oh, if that person does this or does the other thing. But actually, it's your willingness to... Can you trust yourself to move forward if it doesn't work out? Can you trust yourself to actually want to fix it? Are you going to trust yourself and not look for holes when you're moving forward? So it's really about you than the other person. Okay. If you make it about the other person, then you're giving too much power away and you're always going to have that psychological reaction of always looking for something versus just trusting yourself. It's like, right, I'll forgive that person, we're going to move on, and I'm not going to look for anything. If they do it again, then we're going to just deal with it when it happens again.
All right. Sakwa, it seems like you had something to add on to the correlation.
The gender aspect.
Yeah, the gender aspect, yeah.
I think for men, we are easy to let some stuff go. That is what I can actually relate to what he's trying to put across. Yeah. And to such an extent that we are not so much deeply emotional. So some things happen, and we look at the perspective in how they happened, and then possibly we let go. And if we don't need to hang on, sometimes even if they're friends, we let go those friends so that we're able to move on. But for ladies, being emotional, we all know that, and we understand that. It basically means that when they start trusting you, they put a lot of that confidence in you, that they are always on the lookout of that consistency on how you are treating them and how you are carrying along in the relationship. So if that is broken, there's a lot of trauma they go through. And so for that trauma, healing will take time, as we say. So for ladies, healing might be slightly longer as compared to...
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I think it depends with the person.
The personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, personality too.
Some
That's
people
another thing.
are, they're quick to let go. Others,
Yeah.
especially if you worked on yourself.
Yes.
If a woman's worked on herself, she knows her worth.
Yeah.
She's, not trapped in patriarchy. She's not worried about all these assumptions of women take longer, or women do this.
Yeah.
They just deal with the issue straight away, as a man would, or not in most cases. And I think also men are programmed to be strong and not to. So they try to move
I think that's
first.
a conversation on its own. We need to find time for that on its own.
That is, apart from being a personality, it's also on your background.
Yes.
Where you've come from.
That's true.
If you went through some trauma before, some betrayal before, as you're growing up and all that kind of thing, of course, or even in your early adulthood, you've been able to go through a number of trauma or betrayals, then it basically means it will keep lingering in your mind all the time. And you will be always remain hypervigilant to see what's happening next.
I agree with you. I want to read the comments that are coming in, because the response is, we have a lot of responses coming in. So I'll begin with Shazi. She says, hi, I'm Shazi, enjoying the show from Nyahururu town. My point of view is trust can be built in a romantic relationship if the betrayal is a one-time thing, not a pattern. And also trust can be built when the person is taking full accountability without being defensive. That is Shazi. Yes, trust on matters of relationship, you can rebuild it back. But the biggest betrayal that I cannot forgive is when one gets your source of income shut down. All right, when you mess with her money, another one here is saying, I'm Pamela. Thank you. I like the conversation. Today we hear both fear men and fear women. But fear men seems to be more common, especially among Gen Zs. The Gen Zs will let us know. From a psychological perspective, why has this narrative become so widespread? Is it based on reality or on emotional responses to repeated disappointment? Help us understand why trust is declining and how young people can rebuild trust without generalizing an entire gender. And I want to pose this question to the younger people, the Gen Zs in the house. Help us understand this, just as she puts it. Is what was the question? The fear men, fear women thing. Do you feel like it's more rampant now? And can we have some, is there something to back it, or is it just something we are saying now?
I definitely think it's more rampant now, especially fear men. Yeah, like I did my research yesterday. Yeah. The level of infidelity in marriages, there's 20% of men who are
unfaithful.
Who are unfaithful.
And 13% of women. So you see there's a margin there, 20% and 13%. So men tend to, like women, we tend to be more emotional people. That's why when a betrayal comes through, we are more like crashing out and stuff. We are dramatic, but men, when it comes to men, they tend to just leave it aside. They are not more emotional. They're not leaning onto the emotional side. They don't want to be seen as weak or something. That's why I think fear men is like more rampant right now.
As a man, how will you defend yourself from that?
Well, fear women. I mean, we've kind of established that we are now fearing the opposite gender.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that the women are all chanting fear men, the men are all saying fear women.
Yeah.
But every Saturday they're in church, marrying each other. So, I mean, make it make sense. Everybody's trying to make out the other gender as the most promiscuous, most untrustworthy. But we still can't completely, dissociate ourselves from the same.
Yeah.
I mean, 90% of the people saying fear men have boyfriends. 90% of these guys were saying fear women. Actually, you should take 25 hours in a day to fear women, have girlfriends, and probably even side chicks. So
Yeah.
I guess I don't think I would say there's any psychological backing to the whole narrative. I guess it's just something that was started at some point,
Yeah.
and everybody just picked up on it. Somebody might have been done wrong by a woman or by a man at some point in life, and then they were like, no, I'm never doing that again. I fear men.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody else picked it up from there, and it just became a whole conversation. But if we really were to say there's any actual, confirmation that this is a thing that's really happening, then everybody's fearing everybody else. How are we still getting along then, So yeah, I think we should all work towards being able to trust each other, being able to be comfortable and confident around each other, than trying to make it a whole conversation between who is fearing who and who is more scary and who is more prone to, breaking trust or causing betrayal. Yeah.
All right. So now let me read a couple more comments. Someone is saying, for a person, okay. Forgiveness is a gift you give to your own peace. Trust is a privilege that must be earned again. So yes, it's entirely possible to forgive someone and still decide not to trust them again. Forgiveness can happen in your heart, while trust depends on whether the other person's actions demonstrate that they are trustworthy over time. Someone else is saying, if trust was at 100, then after betrayal it will be at 50, because people believe don't let a snake bite you twice. Okay, trust can be rebuilt but not fully. One more here. For a person having been betrayed, for a person having been betrayed another, what action can be taken? For someone who has already betrayed another, what action can be taken? I believe that's what you're saying. Give yourself time. Don't feel pressure to forgive or trust immediately. Also, set clear boundaries about what you need to feel safe moving forward. There was one more here. As we continue, someone is saying, hi, good morning, Kenya. I'm Malim here. I have had the guest only advising on family about trust. What about to the person you love, like your girlfriend or your boyfriend? Maybe who you are planning to start a family with? If you can just answer, Malim, when it comes to boyfriend and girlfriend who are looking to actually get into marriage and trust is broken, how do you rebuild that?
I think from that perspective, if you're not married yet, you have to look at the person's character, like holistically, and decide if that's the type of person you want to move forward with. Because I think for me, if we're not married and you're already betraying me, I'm going to start thinking, are you the type of person that I want actually to marry? So think about that question before you move forward. I think the next thing is to see if the person also is working on themselves. Have they shown a history of working on themselves? Are they willing to work on themselves? Because if the person is sitting there, maybe saying, oh, I'm just like, this is how I am, I don't know how to change or whatever, then you might not want to proceed. You might start to consider. And also just value yourself. I think a lot of women sometimes can be very hung up on being in a relationship, and they'll give up a lot of what they would want for themselves, for the relationship. So also ask yourself, are you sacrificing who you are, what your values are, what you want for another person? And, I think a lot of the times when women start looking at themselves from a value perspective and think, actually, I'm worthy of a person who doesn't do this to me, really sees me as an asset in their lives, then a lot of the relationships wouldn't be moving forward. They'll be just like, actually, no, that's not the person for me. What you've shown me in the past is not good enough, so I'm just going to look for something that's good enough. So I think those would be my things to kind of mention around that.
All right, we need to be winding up on the conversation. Maybe Mercy, what would be your final take on all this?
I would say for me, if you betray me, as I had said earlier, if you're my close friend and you betray me, rebuilding the trust, it will take time, but I don't think it will be back to 100% because I'll be asking myself so much questions. I'll be like, if I gave 100% trust from the beginning and then I got betrayed, and right now I give her maybe the second chance, how much more will she betray me, you know? And, you know, as someone had said, you know, the memories that we had created, the words they had maybe said to us, you don't know which ones were real or they were just faking.
Okay.
So for me, just as they said earlier, yes, you can rebuild it,
But it depends.
it depends.
All right, Kevin?
I guess as we wind up, my take on this would be betrayal, the different kind of betrayals. So far we've addressed family, we've addressed friendships. Somebody mentioned about, you know, getting their source of income shut down. So I guess that would come from a professional point of view.
Yeah.
There are also betrayals in the professional setup, right?
Exactly.
Maybe a colleague, a coworker betrayed you.
Yeah.
So all of these betrayals, there are different ways to work towards rebuilding the trust. I do believe trust can be rebuilt. You know, the time, the allowing them space and time for healing, the boundaries, as she had said, but there's also the aspect of taking care of yourself. You know, work on yourself. Make sure that if something like this were to happen again, it won't affect you as much. It won't cause you to like completely lose trust in everybody, because some people tend to be so affected by betrayal, they literally stop trusting anyone else, and you can't completely disconnect yourself from the world. That's not a very good way to live. So I think, betrayal can be, you can get past betrayal, but some people never really get over it.
Okay.
You find ways to work around it, you find ways to function normally around it, but you never really let go of it. But yeah,
Okay.
people need to stop betraying each other.
Okay. That's your final remarks. All right. I'll take your final remarks, Rose.
For me, as the betrayed, it is important to not make it about myself. Rather, their character flaw.
Exactly.
It's not about me. It is important for me to take care of myself. For me, the biggest form of betrayal is betrayal after betrayal. That is, if you betrayed me and you're not telling me the entire truth about the betrayal that happened, that's the biggest form of betrayal. You have to be truthful and honest. Hata kama itani hurt, just tell me the whole truth.
Yeah.
And that calls for trust issues in people. It makes people to not trust again. And so more walls are built around that person. So yeah, that is my take. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bilson?
My final take is we have to understand that communication in this time of rebuilding is good. And also, for me, I can forgive someone, depends with the action or how consistent that person is and the action that the person takes.
Yeah.
We have to understand the nature of the betrayal, and also for me, I will really pick for that trust to be rebuilt over time. Nasema usiforce issues. Unataka tu nikusamee mara moja. Hata kuforce issues. Very relax.
Yeah.
Let me take my time. It's my wewe ndo umenikosea. Si ati I give myself time.
Yeah.
That will be my final take.
All right, and I'll take your final takes, but I want to read this message and maybe you can base your final take on the same. Maybe Sakwa. Someone is saying, good morning, my people. Nobody will ever convince a betrayed man that he can heal fully. I was betrayed by someone I trusted so much. Trust me, I was done with love. Haki mimi huwa naona wapenda nao na wahurumia sana. That is Alex from Meru. Maybe you can base it from there where someone has lost complete trust in everyone, really.
Yeah. There is a bad space to find yourself in. And clearly, as you say, from the conversation that we've had here in all aspects of betrayal, we need to find space to heal and be able to move to the next level.
Yeah.
The reason being that, as we've agreed, this world we are not living as individuals, but we're living in a community of setting of people.
Yeah.
And so it is important that at the end of the day, it is you who holds the key to that decision on how you want to move forward. So by knowing that you hold the key to that decision of how you want to move forward, then either you let go of that particular relationship and move and heal first, and then you move to the next level. And then you can still find, in all this world, we are told that all of us are born with some innate goodness in us. We don't do things because we intend to do them to hurt others, but sometimes we do things that fall short of what other people are expecting of us. So in actual sense, I will say that he needs to find space to seek therapy and possibly walk around a journey that can be able to revive his emotions to the extent of loving again.
All right.
Because we need each other.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's also another question here that I would appreciate if you would answer this one. They're asking, how do you know when it's wise to forgive and try and rebuild, and when it's wise to just leave it and walk away?
Yeah, and I guess that's a question you would never know until you do it, because you don't know. People are very interesting. So you can never know that this is one, if I forgive, they'll never do it again. Because I said we're not that one-dimensional. But I think what I can say to this person is you have got to trust yourself with that you have the ability to move forward after a betrayal has happened. And you have to really put in the work to trust yourself, because I think when people close doors forever and go, I wouldn't, like the man before that said, oh, you know, I feel sorry for people in relationship.
Okay.
You cannot afford to do that, because you're closing your chances of actually having a life that you could potentially enjoy with another person. So I would just say, trust yourself in your ability to move forward after a betrayal. And also remember, people are people, they are going to betray you. So don't be so shocked that you fall apart completely and lose yourself because you've been betrayed. Unfortunately, it's a human trait. It's likely going to happen to all of us multiple times. The quicker we know that people do this, the easier we can move on. It's like, okay, yeah, people cheat, people lie, people betray, people love, and that's just life.
Yeah, and I think for someone who has made it a pattern, then I think that should be reason enough for you to now move on completely, because 100%. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again,
100%.
Then what, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's also important to note. And this is where we get to end this conversation. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for just being part and parcel of this discussion. And thank you so much to each and every one of you who has sent in your comments. There are so many, we couldn't read through all of them, but we've seen all of them. And we thank you for always being part of our conversations every Monday when we tackle matters family.